We're opening what? Welcome to an Amongst the Whiskey reading review. This will be a short format video recounting my long-winded whiskey writings for all of you who can't be bothered to read. My name is Nick Anderson, and I will be your host for today's review of Redbreast 30-Year Dream Cask. This is the 5th edition that they called the Double Cask Edition, as it was a marriage of an Oloroso sherry butt and a bourbon barrel, both full of 30-year Middleton single pot still Irish whiskey. Let's take a look at the bottle and the packaging a little bit before we dive in. You'll see they've designed this box in the style of a book, very interestingly. Flip the cover over, you'll find a neat little cover page here. From there, we'll discover a hidden bottle inside. Oh! There are some great little magnetic features in here that keep everything neat and orderly, keep things tidy inside. Well, let's pull out this bottle. This is a rare offering. Yeah, 30 years old. The color on that is ridiculous. So for today's review, I am going to, full disclosure, be rereading the review that I've already done on the Redbreast 30-Year Dream Cask. I've done a full write-up already on my website. It is wordy, and I understand that not everybody likes to read. So I thought I would just read it to you, if you can't be bothered to let your eyes skim across the page and read the words yourself. So let's do that. So the Redbreast 30-year bottling is going to be Middleton Distillery whiskey. It says Middleton Distillery on the back, and it will be, because of the single pot still Irish whiskey distinction, it will be a mash bill of 100% malted barley and unmalted barley. So undisclosed proportions of each, but that is what the single pot still Irish whiskey category defines as being possible with this one. It is a bold 113.8 proof. High for Irish whiskey. Normally Irish whiskeys are bottled 80, 92 proof, common bottling proofs. And this is the 5th edition. So this is a very rare bottling. Redbreast does not put out a ton of these at all. This one was available in 2022 at a MSRP of 550 euros. Figure out what that means for your currency. So without further ado, let's jump into the review of Redbreast 30-Year Irish Whiskey. I also have a glass because it's St. Patrick's Day. Might as well enjoy myself. So on the nose, holy leather. This glass can be smelled from a mile away. An obviously deep, inviting, redolent whiskey. Lifting the glass to my nose offers an instant parallel to some really old vintage whiskey. I'm reminded of a pour I had of an 18 summers old I.W. Harper bottle and bond whiskey that was distilled in 1916. The feeling in the nose during long, patient inhales is thick and syrupy, as if I held my nose above a cup of grenadine or a jar of pomegranate jelly. Rich plum, juicy pear, and profound peach tones invade the mind as the glass nears the nostrils again. Chasmic echoes of earth, wind, and wood capture attention and refuse to let go. Brown sugar, saffron, vetiver, and graham cracker notes offer wonderful depth for the inquisitive mind. A breeze blowing past carries the smell of a controlled burn of switchgrass, eliciting hints of smoke and baking bread that inspire a hint of hunger. While most Irish whiskies offer the verdant promise of spring, I find this glass better aligns with the fall season. Aromas of tilth and rain-soaked mulch suggest it is time for entropy to take over at year's end. The great restitution required for future growth. The long, subtle degradation of oak that occurs with extended maturation times is on full display in this glass. with the wood tones that are ever prevalent here never crossing into tannic territory. Late, a hint of clay agglutinates with the sodden soil. Overall, this glass has been worldly, balanced, and well integrated thus far. But let's venture into a sip before continuing. Returning to the glass, after a few sips, shows a reformed experience. One that has moved beyond the mossy bed that came before, and is suddenly bright, lively, and sweet. After a long pause, the well-rested glass exudes butterscotch, maple syrup, and caramel tones, quite reminiscent of an ultra-aged bourbon. Though the proof is significantly higher than most Irish whiskey bottlings, the aromas are not overt or profound, but subtly undulating in demure beauty. My goodness, the butterscotch seduction that occurs in the nose cannot be understated. I could nose this forever. Respiratory exchanges with this glass are resplendent and full of yearning. Like a tendency towards the meeting of eyes between lovers, I find the glass frequently lifted with fervor and with reverence, too. I treat my final sips like liquid gold, for the repeat narrative of the notes above is awe-inspiring. Swirling the little remaining whiskey in the glass aggravates hints of black pepper, allspice, and charcoal before rich vanilla custard neatly restores balance. The empty glass smells of raisin, nougat, and walnut pie. What an incredible experience from start to finish. On the palate. The moment this liquid hits your tongue, it spreads to every corner of the mouth with a sweet mixture of grenadine, maraschino cherry, and plum juice. It's a full-bodied experience, well fortified by the sherry influence, carrying walnut and dried apricot. I find some wonderful parallels to a good Bordeaux as well, with earthy plum characteristics shining in the linger. Another sip draws from the nosing experience, as strawberry syrup and pomegranate jelly provide an oily, rich mouth coating. Sipping further feels gluttonous, but is obviously worthwhile, as the thick, viscous whiskey is once again pervasive in the mouth. Tingles of espresso and graham cracker hit the tongue before a delicate topping of confectioner's sugar and nutmeg transform this into a wonderful afternoon delight. I can picture myself in a coffee house somewhere in Oregon, as pale, natural light filters through tall windows, landing with grace on the many glossy wood tones throughout. In the more delicate moments that dither between sips, I find a nostalgic light varnish note I loosely associate with wicker, reed, cane, or cord, materials often used for woven chair seats. Tasting near the end of the glass offers candied walnut, almond extract, and praline. It's a bittersweet moment, as I know it will soon mean that I will be done nosing this delectable dram. At the sad realization of that moment, I taste resinous cedar influence and sweet raisin. The finish is long, but supple and soft, with balsamic sweetness, tobacco, and dulce de leche trickling across the tongue. And I would rate this whiskey a 5 out of 5. Just wow. One of my favorites. My goodness. Now, they only made 721 bottles of this. So I understand that most of you are probably not going to be able to taste this. But I think it serves as a wonderful example of what the Redbreast brand are capable of. So, yeah, it's a rare whiskey, and it's not over oaked at 30 years. I think it's gorgeous, gorgeous whiskey. It has some great parallels to bourbons that I love, and ultimately is a vintage dusty style whiskey that I love. What say you, whiskey community? Are you going to hunt this one down? Or does Redbreast 12 scratch that itch? Let me know. Cheers.